Hello, today I want to share with you a component that I just made while I was teaching myself how to use async IO in TouchDesigner. The point of this component is so that you can run large language models locally on your own machine, like Deepseek-r1 for example, without needing to be connected to the internet, without needing an API key, without needing to spend tokens or money every time you want to interact with a chatbot. So this component is going to be completely for free. I'm going to put the link to my Patreon where you can download the component for free in the description of the video. And I hope you learned something today. First, I'm going to show you how to install the prerequisites to start using the component, and then I'm just going to quickly show you a simple network in TouchDesigner that explains a little bit about how the component works so that you can start using it for your own purposes. And yeah, okay, let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is head to a website called Ollama.com. And from Ollama, you're just going to go to the download page and download it for your system. I'm on Windows. I've made this whole project in Windows. I just recommend Windows in general if you're using TouchDesigner. So go ahead and download that. I've already got it downloaded. So once you download Ollama, you'll have a file here called Ollama Setup. You can just open that up and continue along with the installation. You just press install. Right here it's going to say, oh, actually you've already got Ollama running on your computer, which means I've already got it installed. But for you, you can just keep on pressing next and you'll see a green bar here that will go all the way to completion. And when the green bar is completed, it won't give you any kind of a message that says Ollama was successfully installed on your computer. So I will just show you really quickly how to verify that you have Ollama on your computer. And the way to do that, once it's done installing, of course, is just open up a command prompt. And you can go ahead and type in the word Ollama. And just like that, you'll see it will give you a list of how you're actually supposed to use that command, like all the arguments. So if you're saying that, that's fantastic. You're already ready for the next step, which is that we want to pull the Deepseek-r1 model from Ollama. So the Deepseek-r1 model is actually kind of interesting because Deepseek-r1 does this thing where it prints out not only the result to your chat prompt, but it also tells you a little bit about what it's thinking. So I will show you later how that works. But once you pull Deepseek-r1, make sure you have at least about 6 gigabytes of space on your computer available, and just wait for all of these things to finish pulling. And once you see the success message, you're ready to move into TouchDesigner. So the setup is super duper quick. Okay, so now that we're here in TouchDesigner, you can just drag and drop the DeepSeek component just like this. So once you bring it into your program, you should see the little DeepSeek logo. And when you open up the parameters box, the first thing that you're going to want to do is just go over here to where it says pip install Ollama and press that button. What it's going to do is it's going to freeze your project for a little bit. Don't worry. It's just pulling the Python packages so that it can use the Ollama commands, which are necessary for running this chatbot. So just give it a second. Once you see that the frames start increasing and once your project isn't frozen anymore, like now, you'll know that Ollama has been successfully installed. In case you need to double check to verify, you can press the button here, pulse, and you'll see a message that says the package is installed if it was successfully installed. And that's really all that there is to do for setup. So now I just want to show you how to use the component. So the way I'm going to do that is first I'm going to show you what the outputs of the component are. The first output is the results. If we connect that to a null, we'll see here that there are 2 different rows, and this is specifically designed for the Deepseek-r1 model. But there's a row for whatever it's thinking, and then there's a row for whatever its actual output is going to be in case you don't care about what it's thinking. And then if we connect the second output to a null, this output represents the chat history. So since I haven't said anything to it yet, and since it hasn't replied to me, there is no chat history at the moment. So what we're going to do is let's use the component. First up, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create a text, and I'm going to say, hey, I like ice cream. And then I'm going to copy and paste that down below. And I'm going to change it to say like what food do I like? And hopefully DeepSeek is good enough that it remembers what I just said. So I'm going to connect both of these to a switch. And here is how we can use that with DeepSeek. First thing, in the parameters box for DeepSeek, right here where it says the prompt, you can of course type in like a raw string into here, whatever message you want. But if you have a network of operators and strings that all go to a null, you can reference them just like this. So I'm going to take the switch, I'm going to drag and drop it into the prompt, and I'm just going to type in .text so that it says switch1.text. And now what that's going to do is it's going to evaluate the text that's in switch 1, which is currently, hey, I like ice cream. Now, if I change the switch to index 1, the switch now says, what food do I like? So, of course, the new text is, what food do I like? So let's run DeepSeek now. The first thing you're going to do is you're just going to press the Run Model button. When you do that, DeepSeek will turn blue, and it's pretty much ready at this point to take in your prompt. So you can press the Run Prompt Pulse button, or you can link it to something in your project like a chop. So in my case, I'm just going to use like a keyboard in, which will turn on whenever I press 1 on my keyboard. So I'm going to link keyboard 1 to the Run Prompt Pulse button as a chop reference. And now when I press 1 on my keyboard, DeepSeek will run that prompt, and it will think for a little bit, and then it will give us the output here. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to press it in 3, 2, 1. I press it. You'll see that there's a little loading bar around DeepSeek, and when the bar disappears, you'll see that it has given me an output. And it apparently didn't need to think at all for that input that I gave it, but it said to me, cool, ice cream is such a delightful treat. Have you tried any flavors? Blah, blah, blah. So great. And we can see here the chat history coming from the user and then what the assistant said. And you can see here that the way that DeepSeek outputs its response, it actually encapsulates whatever it was thinking about with these two open and close think tags. So that's kind of how DeepSeek's output looks. So now what I'm going to do is with the switch, I'm going to change it to index 1, which will be the message, what food do I like? And I'm going to run the prompt again. I'm going to press 1 on my keyboard. DeepSeek is going to think about it. And this time it's going to say, all right, so the user just asked me about what food they like. They mentioned that they like ice cream, and I responded by blah, blah, blah. That's a great question. Well, ice cream is definitely one of my favorites. I'd like to know what other foods you enjoy. So maybe it confused me saying what food do I like with what food do you like, but at least, hey, it remembered that I was talking about ice cream. So that's great. This is basically the core functionality of the component and running the DeepSeek model, and maybe if you have more interesting prompts, it will give you better output than this example. So now what I'm going to do is if I want to stop using DeepSeek, or if I want to clear its chat history, memory, or anything like that, I can just turn the model off. And the logo will go back to white, and you'll see maybe a message here in the text port that says shutting down server. So the other functionality in this component is that I've also included a print debug here in case you need to see exactly what it's doing under the hood. So I will turn that on. This time I will just run the prompt by actually clicking it, and the text I will put in manually. So now that the model has been turned off, you can be rest assured that even though the chat history here is still showing what we talked about with ice cream, the model doesn't remember that, and it will update it the next time it runs. So for example, if I turn the model on and I say, what food did I just talk about? And if I run that prompt, it will receive what food did I talk about, it will think about it for a second, and it will say, I only remembered what we discussed in our current chat. And you can see here, clearly it doesn't remember anything about ice cream. So yeah, that's a little bit about how its memory works. And for example, if you want to increase the amount of chat history that it will store, you can change that number here to 150 messages back and forth between the two of you. Or if you want to adjust it to maybe it only remembers the last 50 messages, or maybe it remembers the last 5,000 messages, that's totally up to you, but you can change that number here. So yeah, I guess the last thing is DeepSeek runs on, like it kind of sends messages back and forth using a port on your computer. So you can just change the port to anything that you're not really using. And yeah, and if you change the message history or the port, make sure you do that while the model's off. And then once you've changed it to say like 200 messages and maybe using a different port, you can go ahead and turn the model back on, and you'll see that it is now running Deepseek-r1 on this port on localhost. And yeah, I think that's basically it. You're free to take a look inside DeepSeek if you want to see how the network was all put together. It was used using td-pip and td-async.io, and then some texts and some scripts. You can check that all out here. And overall, I just hope that you find it to be a useful component, and I hope that maybe you can make some cool projects using chatbots without having to spend a bunch of tokens on something like ChatGPT. So thank you so much for watching my video, and if you have any questions about the component or need any support or are wondering how to use it in a certain use case, feel free to leave a comment or message me, and I would be happy to help. Okay. Have an awesome rest of your day, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.